Howdy YouTube, been a couple weeks. Had some things go on. Cold weather, minus 30 degrees. Yeah, so things like that. Gotta love it. And then lately I've been working on big Hitachi excavator. And trying to do what I could do to get funds coming in, you know. So there's a chance for money. I do what I gotta do. So I went to a buddy's house yesterday to work on his bulldozer. It's a old 420 bulldozer that we've been putting together, and found an old wooden steering wheel and one of the old gas pedal type foot pedal things. My Buick's already got one on the dimmer switch, so I said, well, that works out. So thanks to my buddy Eric for that. Yeah, so now I got steering to do on this thing, which is gonna be fun. So this is kind of the dilemma I got with this steering box, and I thought I had another one that I could make work, but as you can tell, I've already started. I already got the nut off and the lock washer on that thing for the pivot arm. I still gotta pull it off. I haven't got to that far yet, but I was getting warmed up and ready for it. So yeah, the mounts are on the bottom like that, which spins the box the total opposite direction of what I need. So now I gotta improvise and do some configuring how I want to do that. Whether I cut the box off here and add knuckles, or improvise my hole a little bit right here, bring it up here, and then let the steering column lay low, which I don't see a problem with it because I'm gonna be sitting pretty low anyway in this thing, so. But yeah, that's the things that I gotta figure out and how I want to mount that box. We'll see. Another big issue that I'm gonna run into is I ain't got very much play in here to wiggle room. So I kind of like to be above more than below. I don't know. The thing of it is I need to stick the box out further enough. So yeah, that's gonna be another thing. And then, I mean, I'm not really gonna do much with this until I get the box mounted where I need it to be, because there's no sense of cutting and hacking this until I know where this box is gonna be permanently. So I'll keep you informed. So just in case nobody's seen this ever done or whatever, taking that off. So what you do is put a ratchet or a wrench on it, but I'm putting my impact on it, so it kind of gives it a rat-tat as it's going. She's rugged. Well, I might have to get a hammer. Beat that a little bit. Next best thing, a hatchet. Just tap on the end of it. What I'm hoping, which is probably not, because I can already tell this is a splined one, so I'm going to have to figure this all out, which I'll probably not even use that end. I'll probably end up making something. Well, this is going to take a little more than I thought, so. But you get the gist of it. So I got it off. It took a little bit of heat. But now it pops off. See, this thing's got 4 bigger grooves. And I don't know if I can tell you. Oh, right there, you can see it. One. Let's see if I can hold the camera. Hey, let's see. Let's set this right down here. So there's one right there, one right there, and one right there, and one right there. So I'm almost wondering if that might work. It ain't splined, but those big 4 grooves, if they catch, no, it's reversed. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work, so I have to do something different. But if I turn that around, okay, and it's tapered. That is sweet. So you can't turn that around. Well, that ain't get me any further, any quicker. Well, this may be a longer project than I thought. Well, I poured all apart, so that's what I got left out of that steering shaft. Still trying to figure out what I want to do, but that was a mission. Everything was froze right up tighter than a drum. Pieces didn't want to come off. The steering wheel's pretty much non-existent. I mean, there's some rubber laying on the floor there. I had this other steering shaft right there, but it's froze up tighter than a drum down on the bottom too, so that one's not going to work. That's out of the question. So that leaves me with what I got, or either that I go out and buy something. I don't know, but that's what's left of the steering wheel. She had the life for the few minutes she freaking lasted. I had to heat it up and everything else heated off, because the holes where you pull the steering wheel off were stripped and rotted out. So, well, YouTube back again. Had to brainstorm a few things, and I got that steering shaft all apart from the last video that I have to catch up with, that I had to catch up with now. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this plate right here, which has already a hole in it. Then I'm going to friggin' open that hole up more, and then cut a hole there. Probably use a torch to do it, because it's just as easy. I ain't gonna pull the crap out of my truck right now because it's a work week. So really don't want to pull my stuff out of the truck. So, which to give that steering box, I'm gonna mount somewhere in this range here somewhere. Not exactly sure yet. I know I'm gonna have to lengthen this rod anyway. As far as the, where did I go with them? Oh, over there, right there. As far as these, I think I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut this off because I need this spline. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one so that way it has the ball and socket. So that way all I have to do is lengthen that. Get a piece of tube, cut it, rugged piece of tube that slides into, lengthen it out to where that box is going to be. And then weld her up. So, didn't realize steering knuckles are so hard to come by, especially, I guess I'd say in Maine. Because it isn't like you got a hot rod shop every 20 miles or so. So, I ended up ordering some steering knuckles, a steering shaft, and a Heim joint. So that way I can get my steering shaft from down here up to there and then up to the original column where the steering wheel would mount. I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to go with original steering mount because I've got a feeling it's going to be pitched like way up here. I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's all to come anyway. So, we'll see what we make for progress anyway. I'd like to get the box mounted and everything before I get the other parts. That way all I have to do is start splicing and cutting and put everything together. But now I gotta do some cutting. So I fired the torch up. Well, there it is. There's the plate I need. I cut that off. As you can see, there's still steam coming off of it. There's the other piece I need. I don't know where the other piece went for that. Oh, I threw it over there. So here's the other half of the steel that I can use for something else, and the other piece of the pitman arm. I'm not sure about cutting that shaft yet. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get that piece welded up underneath the frame where I think I need the steering box, and then get a judge from there. But until then, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this all off, get the paint off in it, and then grind right in here. So I figured what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my steering box right underneath here so that way that will line up with that, and I'll have plenty of clearance when I put the box up and everything. So that's the plan. Steering box is going to go right in this area. Yeah, I know it's going to be a long rod, but with joints, but I just think that's the easiest. Put the box closest to the thing, then I won't have to bother with lengthening that rod out. And then I got all my leverage right there. It's not hard to turn a shaft compared to all this leverage out here. So it should be good. But it'll be a test trial. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I ended up cutting the steering shaft because it was too long. It was hitting underneath the thing. So I said, well, I guess out she goes. So, but I'm keeping that in just in case I have to go with that steering wheel rope. I don't know, I'm not sure exactly, but we'll end up getting it figured out. But yeah, so a don't cut through that thing and then hit the rubber mat, because for one thing, the grinder goes whee, and then you break your disc. Not a pleasant sight. A lot of things happen quick. So So that was a learning lesson for me. So what I did is I stuck this in the vise for the plate and stuck my vice grips here, spun it around, and I almost got about 5 times. So I figured around close to a 2.5 turn is my middle point, which brings where my things, my pitman arm is gonna be is right there. So I'll heat that up and weld it and peen it, and should be good. So I just clamped that into position, and I think it's gonna actually work out pretty slick. So I'm probably gonna have to trim some more off this shaft here, but that's minor. I think it's gonna work great. So I'll buzz that into place. The steering shaft will be underneath the frame there, but I mean, that's not gonna be a problem. So come out with a knuckle this way and then up. And probably one of those Heim's joint right here. But we'll see what happens. Gotta wait for that stuff to come in anyway. So what I did is I set this up so that way it was in the place where I wanted it. So that way my steering linkage would line up and everything. It's tight, but I think it should be fine. So, so what I did down here where I cut it, I just laid a weld in there for now, enough so that way I knew where the angle was, where it needed to be, after I just welded the box in on both sides. It's not bolted in permanently at this minute, but it's bolted in enough right now to mock everything up. So that will be able to steer the wheels as it's moving, but I can't really do it with my hand. So, but yeah, once the rest of the parts come in, it'd be beautiful. Be able to mock up the steering wheel and everything. But at least this is a good sized part of it done. So now, well, it's not done, but it's done enough where it's starting to feel like something. So the other thing I did is I hauled that out enough so that way I could really lay the weld in there. And like I said, once I lay the weld in there, I'll be peening it so that way the heat will transfer the whole through the thing, through the whole arm, just to transfer the heat without making a basically so I don't snap. So I know when you guys heard me say peening, you guys are probably thinking, well, what is he talking about by peening? So yeah, this is a slag hammer, but you could also use it to also peen it. It's kind of hard to show you. Well, that might be easier now. But basically what you're gonna do is you're just gonna, it's got a tip on it, on this thing right here. And what the tip's gonna do is it's gonna spread the heat up through as you're freaking really peening it. But that's what peening means. Peening means when you knock it into it, it spreads the heat through it. As you can see, I'm putting little pits in it, which that's what you want. But just so you know what I mean, now I can do it with 2 hands. So yeah, there you go. I got steering box hitched up. That's actual, functional, not as right this moment, but most of the way. till I get the other pat, so that way I can put it all together to use the steering wheel. But yeah, that's a big step. So, looks like crap for the dust from the welder. But yeah, it'll come out of it. It's a work in progress. So, just take the time that I can get to do it, and hopefully someday, you know, continue to do this stuff. I really enjoy it, but it's getting late, so I'm gonna head into the house and wait for those pats to come in. We'll see what goes on.